All right, guys. So yeah, the market is dropping on mostly bank downgrade. So Moody's downgraded some banks, including Pinnacle. Let me spell Pinnacle. I think it's Pann. Yeah, there it is. So here's Pinnacle, downgraded by Moody's. All right, let me get some music playing. All right, yeah, sorry I'm late. To be honest, we don't have a lot of crazy news today going on, and so I wanted to see what the stream views would be like if we started the stream a little bit late. It looks like they're not that bad, but yeah, the market is down after Moody's downgraded many major banks today. We also have AMC earnings this evening. What's up, guys? Tesla to the moon. What's up, team? All right, but yeah, so again, you can kind of see the SPY down pretty major. Oh man, sorry. I would have streamed Palantir earnings, but again, my kids start school. We did have some. My kids start school this week, so it's been a hectic, busy week. We did get a UPS beat, so UPS beat EPS beat sales. Let's go ahead and report these. These dropped a long time ago, but yeah. So UPS missed actually. I'm sorry. So UPS showed 242 EPS versus 251 expected. Revenue missed as well. Expected 23.11 billion for revenue. They only showed 22.10. So again, I guess EPS beat adjusted for UPS. You'll see those numbers up in chat. Yeah, AMC's flying up, and that's great. I'm in AMC right now. What's up, team? Hey, we're here. Yeah, sorry. We're starting the stream a little bit late again. It was just time. All right. We're also very close to getting funded on another account today. Let me exit out of some of the stuff we are. Yeah, we are ready. Again, market's mostly in a downward trend right now if we look at it, though. Again, AMC flying up, guys. I'm going to put AMC, but again, Moody's downgraded. AMC up to 535 is breaking the pre-market high here. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Here, let me put the music on. Yeah, gotcha. Hold on. Let me put the music on. Oh, man. I'm excited for my kids to go to school, in all honesty. Ford down. Yeah. All right. AMC rip it up over highs at 537s right now, guys. 537s for AMC. Under Armour. Yeah, I'm watching AMC. It's at 535s right now, consolidating here, guys. Yeah, I'm ready now. Honestly, it's bittersweet. Like, I love my kids. I want to see my kids, but they've been home all summer. And like, my kids don't understand, man. They really don't understand, dude. They think like, for whatever reason, my kids think that like it's my responsibility to find them stuff to do. And it's just clearly not, but they think that it's my job to like give them something to do. I always try to tell my kids, like, look, dude, y'all gotta, again, what I always try to tell my kids, because they sit around and they don't have much to do. What I tell my kids is that you find your passions when you're young, right? When you're young, you figure out what your passions are. You figure out what you're passionate about, And I tell my son, I'm like, look, bro, you sit on that Xbox all day, you're not gonna have any passions, bro. And I'm a video game player, so it's really hard for me because it's like my son sees me play video games, but I just gotta kind of tell him, like, look, dude, I just try to tell him, like, look, bro, you want to find other stuff to do. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, as a kid, as a 9-year-old, if I let him sit on that Xbox, he will sit on that thing all day. And so, and the reason, like, I remember when I was young, right? When I was young, I remember not having much to do. And so I found stuff to do. Like, I didn't have much to do when I was young. And so it made me find like different hobbies. Like, I had to like figure out some hobbies when I was young, All right, the NASDAQ's still breaking down a little bit. But yeah, when I was young and I was bored, I had to find hobbies. And I think that's what he needs to do too. He needs to figure out something to do. And my son has been. He's been learning to code. He's been building his own games on Scratch. He's been learning to code and building his own games. And so it worked. Like, he found something he's interested in, which is code and mathematics, which is good. Yeah, Datadog did report their numbers. Or no, did they report theirs? I don't know. Let me see. I'm looking up there now. Datadog posted 36-cent, beat 28-cent estimates on EPS. Revenue of 0.509, beat the 0.506 estimates. Yeah, I used to play backyard hockey. Right, exactly, Alexis. You learn from being bored. Exactly. Like, you find passions when you're bored, But like, my kids come at us and they're like, oh, we got it. We're bored. I'm like, dude, go figure out something to do. It's not like my kids didn't do anything all summer. Like, bro, we traveled all summer. My kids got to do more this summer than a large majority of kids in the world. Like, we went and traveled to Michigan. We went to the beach in Florida. Like, we did so much different things. We went to the beach in Michigan and we went all these different museums and stuff like that. Like, they had a great, like, busy summer, yet they still complain. Just entitled kids is what I tell them. Just entitled kids. Hey, that's actually a good idea. He says, every time my kids bug me, I give them a chore. Yep. That's a great idea. Yeah, so Datadog, again, if we look at DDOG, there's Datadog right there. So Datadog not reacting well to the earnings report today. All right, so the NASDAQ's still flushing down here. We had one loss and one gain on this one, and so we're pretty much flat. Well, that's the issue when we give them so much. They expect it all and every time, 100%. Yeah, it is what it is. They're kids. I make sure to really reinforce what it is. Like, I tell my kids, like, look, some days you're just going to sit around and do nothing. That's just life, right? Like, I probably learned the most on days when I sat around when I didn't have anything to do, and so I found something to do. Like, when I was young, when I was my son's age, I was into, like, to be honest, if you want me to be honest, when I was Jack's age, which my son's just wildly different than I am, I was into, like, downloading emulators and ROMs for video games. And so like I would go online and download the Pokemon video games, and I would download an emulator, and a lot of the time there were games that have yet to come out in the United States. So I remember like I really wanted to play a specific game that wasn't out in the US, and so I downloaded the emulator, I downloaded the ROM, and they had to interpret it themselves into English. And so I don't even know if it was the right interpretation of, you know, whatever it was, but I did that when I was young, and I found stuff to do, and that pushed me on like into tech. Like I developed a passion for tech because of days where I sat around doing nothing. I was bored. I didn't have anything to do, and those days were better for me. They were good for me, you know. All right, so we just got another little green trade on the NASDAQ. We are now effectively green, I believe. Oh no, we're completely flat. That's all right. Zoetis, which is a company I'm not really sure about. Yeah, AMC is up there. I mean, earnings today, this evening. So we're going to be streaming AMC earnings. Datadog's still just flushing down in the markets here. DDOG nonsense. Yeah, I mean, let me look into the DDOG earnings report to see what actually happened here. Usually there's some nuance that we missed. All right, so there's Datadog. They beat both. So it looks like their guidance were really good. All right, so Datadog had better than expected EPS guidance for the third quarter. They expected 29 cents. They showed 35 cents. That's better. Revenue guidance for the third quarter came in at 5. Oh, so okay. So here's the problem with okay, here's the issue. Here's why Datadog is dropping. Datadog is dropping because of revenue guidance coming in noticeably lower than expected for DDOG. So DDOG, to put it into perspective here, their guidance numbers were bad. It might be an overreaction still, and this is typically what I buy, but I don't really know this company well enough to really say for sure. But again, so their EPS guidance was better, but their revenue guidance, they expected 535 basically. They ended up showing 525, so much lower than expected revenue guidance for the third quarter. Fiscal year revenue guidance was lower than expected as well. So for the entire year of 2023, they expected 2.09 billion revenue guidance. They ended up only doing 2.06 billion, so lower than expected revenue guidance on the year and on the quarter for DDOG, and that is probably why it's dropping, is my guess. It's probably why it's dropping. What the heck, bro? AMC reported their earnings today, dude. What the heck, man? Why? Like, dude, like, why in the world would you specify that you're going to report your earnings in after hours? Like, I was going to cover this. I was going to stream this. I was excited to stream it. Why the F are they going to report theirs early in the morning, dude? Like, why switch your time to PM and then revert it back to in the morning? Like, what the heck, dude? So AMC is out with their numbers. AMC posted a surprise beat of 0-cent EPS versus 4-cent loss per share expected. Sales of 1.35 beat the 1.29 estimates. So they did great for AMC. We'll put those numbers up on screen. They're gapping up. But my question is, like, why not just report these in after hours like you scheduled you were? Like, damn, dude. Like, what's the point of me prepping these streams? AMC's dumb, you know? It could have been much more hype if they did it not at freaking 6 a.m. in the morning. Dumb. Yeah, I mean, Oleg, I'm just telling you why they're probably reacting that way is because of guidance, lower than expected revenue guidance. Typically, I would say revenue trumps EPS in terms of relevancy. And so if revenue guidance was lower than expected, that's probably why they're dropping. Now, again, I could probably agree it's an overreaction. But But yeah. But yeah, for freaking AMC, like, why schedule your earnings release and then switch it up? I'm still kind of frustrated about this, to be honest. I don't really think we have anything going on today either. I mean, it's gonna give me my afternoon back. I won't have to stream today, which is fine. But like, I'd rather have streamed. I'm still kind of disappointed that AMC can't get their scheduling straight. It's fine if they want to do it in the morning, but like schedule it in the morning so we all know. So I don't, you know. That's my frustration. It's like, if you're gonna schedule it in the morning, freaking put it in the morning, dude. Don't say, hey, we're gonna do it in the afternoon, and then, surprise, we decided to change it without telling anybody and report it this morning. Great job, AMC. Way to stay on top of things. It's probably because they reported their freaking earnings at 6 a.m. in the morning. You know? If they would have, listen, it would have been much more hyped if they would have done it in after hours. I'm telling you. Like, when's their earnings call? Is my only question now. Now, I'm telling you, it would have gotten much more attention if they did it in after hours. It really would have. Again, I don't know when they're going to do their freaking earnings now. All right, so I guess the earnings call is still scheduled for 5. Which I guess I could stream now, but I don't think we really... I mean, we got Rivian, we got Upstart, and some other ones this evening, but it's not going to be the same. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to cover... Right, for sure. On a slow week like this, I mean, it's not really a slow week. The first half of this week is slow, but the second half of this week is actually really busy. So like today and tomorrow will probably be slow. Thursday and Friday are super busy. Is the AMC earnings call tomorrow morning now? Did they switch it up? I mean, I'm showing. Let me look at their website. I better not look at another site. I better look at their website. Let me see AMC earnings call. And it's all good. It doesn't matter too much. I would just like to be able to stream it. I'd like to be able to stream the earnings release, which I'm not going to be able to now, which kind of sucks. GameStop earnings on the September 6th. I gotta start doing my taxes. Freaking October. Yeah, what a bunch of geniuses over here. Like, they don't even specify the freaking start time, dude. Ugh. Freaking AMC. I cover all the major earnings reports. I really do. I cover all the major earnings reports. None of them are this unorganized. None of them are this unorganized in terms of when they're dropping their actual earnings call. Yeah, Datadog is down. I mean, maybe there's an argument in a dip buy, but it's down. Yeah, I got taxes due too, and it's all good. I'm not super, you know. Yeah, so the markets are dropping today, specifically from Moody's downgrading U.S. banks. So if you look at banks here, if you look at JP Morgan, down, Wells Fargo, down, Bank of America, down. Banks are specifically dragging the market down today. So banks are what's dragging the market down. And it's mostly because Moody's rating agency downgraded the banks. CPI report is on Thursday. So yeah, CPI report is on Thursday. All right, so again, we are down a little bit here. But yeah, so again, the market is mostly down. The market's mostly down because of freaking AMC, man. Disney's tomorrow. I guess we could stream Disney. Everybody always hates Disney's one though, but we're gonna cover it. Yeah, so we're good. We'll try to cover Disney earnings. It's not the biggest release though here. Yeah, so AMC reported their earnings this morning. That's kind of what's moving it. Again, you see AMC on the right. You see Datadog getting dumped down here. Here's the SPY again. Market's mostly down because of Moody's. So again, if you didn't know, just reporting the news here. So bank shares are all down today after Moody's, which is a credit agency, downgraded the credit rating on several banks, M&T and Pinnacle included. They also placed the Bank of New York, Mellon, and State Street on review for a downgrade. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan all dropped this morning. UPS is down over 5% after weaker than expected revenue. All right, so we have a quote here. I don't know who this is quoting. Let me see. So Dylan Kramer, which is Curtuity Investment CEO, says, quote, "The good news is that the earnings recession is likely coming to an end with earnings growth expected to accelerate over the coming quarters." So again, I guess a lot of people are expecting companies to report good earnings or at least react positively to earnings. I see a lot of earnings this year have been better than expected, specifically this season. And again, we'll post to Twitter. All right, so had Crone, NVAX. What did I see? Oh, we had gold. Still frustrated, to be honest, guys. If I'm being real, I'm still kind of frustrated that AMC can't just like work with this freaking schedule. You know? Again, so we posted all the earnings, and basically what this means, if you want to see, if you want to help support the channel, we'll see how supportive you really are. Here's the link. Check it out. Hey, what's up, Chris? What's up, Alvin? Do a freestyle? AMC earnings call at 3 p.m. Yeah, we're not going to, you know, again, I'm probably not going to stream it. They already reported their earnings. I mean, streaming the call is just unnecessary. And again, guys, remember, on Moomoo, if you open up an account, this is Moomoo, 0 commission stock trades. It's open the entire time of pre-market, which is starting at 4 a.m. And Moomoo is just really nice, man. Again, I made the switch. I've been using these to really get a grasp on what's going on in the markets, like what the sectors are doing and all that stuff. And you can kind of see that here. I could also go to just news, you know, so like, again, earnings are today. One of the really useful parts about this is because, like, you can see here, I can build a watch list of my positions. So like, say I have a watch list of positions, I can click watch list and it's going to show you only the earnings for the stocks on my watch list. I can also go to economic data. Again, 3-star data is the biggest data, and mostly we're watching the US data. So you select North America and 3-star. And again, you can kind of see on the 10th, on Thursday, CPI, jobless claims, PPI on Friday, retail sales next week. And so you can get a good understanding of what's going on there. Again, their pay portfolio section is really interesting. This is somebody that I've been following. He even said high risk. So he's not doing that great on the day. You can see Matt's portfolio here. On the month is my favorite time frame. So you see this guy up on EVLO. I don't know if he's day trading or what he's doing on this, but he is up 350% basically. This guy on the month is up about 50%, and you can kind of see what he's buying and selling. This guy's up about 30% holding Moomoo, holding this ETF and some other ones. And again, you can kind of see where he's buying and selling. And so we'll have to go look to see our favorite traders. This person is up 21% on the month, Silva Lopez. And again, you can kind of see they're holding NVIDIA, Boeing, Adobe. And so I can follow this guy. I actually like this guy's portfolio. I'm going to follow him. And again, you can follow traders just like this on Moomoo. It's 0 commission stock trades. It's open the entire time at pre-market. And so just a really useful platform. And again, if you open up an account and deposit at least $100, you get 5 free stocks. So think about how good that percentage return is. Like, say each stock is worth $5, right? You're going to get an immediate 25% return on that $100. If you open up an account and deposit at least $1,000, you get 15 free stocks. Think of that percentage return. You open up and deposit over $5K, you get the previous 15 plus Google or Tesla share. And I got Tesla. And so, hey, check it out. Here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. I appreciate the love. Again, we're going to do a poll here as well. I don't think I did a poll. Here's the link. Great way to help. I don't think I did a poll. Do they cover Canada? What, you mean Moomoo? Yeah, I mean, so look, here's market hotspots. Here's Canada. So I can select Canada and see what's going on in Canada. I might have to upgrade to get better quotes, but it does do Canada stuff. If we go to news here, I can specify other, which is not any of these. North America is really what it would be. So this is US and Canada. So, I mean, they have some stuff, but yeah, just useful. But again, check it out. It's pinned at the top of the page if you haven't seen it already. Also, we're going to do a poll. We're going to do a CPI poll. The CPI come in higher or lower than expected on Thursday. Higher, lower. And then we're going to do another option for as expected. We're going to do another option for I don't know. Vote on this poll. The CPI come in higher or lower than expected. I bounced it a little bit now. Again, freaking AMC, man. What are they thinking, dude? AMC's like, yeah, guys, we're going to be reporting on our earnings tomorrow evening. Drops them at 6 a.m. the next morning. Like, why would you want less people to pay attention to an EPS beat, right? AMC dropped the freaking ball. Why would you want less people to pay attention to your earnings? You know, like, sure, some like again, to put it into perspective, it's freaking 7 a.m., 7:30 in the morning. You know, you're going to have far more people paying attention to your release if it's at 4 p.m. in the afternoon and after hours. And then you follow that up with your earnings call an hour later. So you drop your EPS and your earnings, which was positive for AMC. It did better than expected. So why wouldn't you want more people to see that? You probably get a bigger reaction. But instead, AMC says they're going to release it this evening. And then they surprise release it at 7 a.m. You know, what is ultimately a good number? I don't know. Maybe their justification is they can let the market stay open longer. But again, it's just a bad move, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm biased because I cover stock market news. And again, I was going to stream AMC earnings. What do we have going on next week? So this week's kind of slow for earnings. Earnings season's kind of dwindling to an end. I'm kind of disappointed. I don't think we have anything next week either. Like we got, yeah, this is basically the last big week of earnings season. So again, I'm kind of bummed. Next week we got Home Depot, C in the morning, in the evening, nothing. Yeah, so this is basically like the last big earnings report. Target next week, Cisco, Walmart, Hut, Bill.com. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Nvidia's still dropping theirs later this month, though. So Nvidia's is not going to be for another 2 weeks or so. Any other big earnings that are yet to be released? So Nvidia's scheduled to drop theirs August 23rd. Crap, man. Ugh, dude, that sucks. That date sucks too. I'm gonna be. Again, I can't really say why, but I'm gonna be busy that day. But I'm gonna have to stream it. But hopefully, well, I'm not gonna stay with the special occasion, but that is a special occasion on my end. Yeah, all good. All right, so Lucid lost $544,159 for every vehicle they delivered in the second quarter. This compares to $818,000 per vehicle in the second quarter of 22. Again, SPY still dumping. Yeah, so we already discussed Moody. So Moody's downgraded some banks. I think specifically Pinnacle, the Bank of New York, and another one. So yeah, these were all mostly downgrades from markets. So again, Moody's downgraded several banks, M&T and Pinnacle specifically, as well as they placed the Bank of New York, Mellon, and State Street on review for a potential downgrade. That is ultimately what's dragging the market down today, was banks being downgraded. All right, guys. Again, stock's still falling, guys. Stock's still falling. Again, AMC at 520s right now. AMC at 520s. Yeah, I mean, banks were doing all right. Like, to put it into perspective, guys, like when we look at the banks here, the banks had their struggles in March. In March, Bank of America was at 26.30s. It's now at 32. In March, Wells Fargo was at 35. It's now at 45. In March, JP Morgan was at 125. It's at 160 basically right now. You know, so like the reality of it is banks are still very green on the year so far this year, especially JP Morgan. JP Morgan has shown to be one of the most resilient banks. But, you know, again, Moody's downgrading them it hasn't had the biggest negative effect, as well as like the market. Again, like one of the things, I guess one of my biases that you guys could probably see at this point in time is like, look, every major economic report, every major bad news, every major catalyst in market activity, bears come out and they say this is the start of the big market crash, right? But what I ask the bears here, guys, is to take a step back and understand what confirmation bias is, okay? Even if you haven't taken short positions, I think sometimes the bears really they don't want to be wrong. But what I'm saying is like the market on the year overall, you know, here's a daily chart on the SPY, right? So like even this latest little dip is nothing super profound relative to what the market's done really all of this year. So again, here's this year so far, right? So here's the year so far. The year started off here. Let me get my pen working. I don't know why it's not working. I might have to exit out of this real quick. Yeah, here. And again, maybe bears are right, but I don't think sensationalizing every economic report to say that this is the start of a stock market crash or some crazy big red market is healthy for sentiment. I just think that at a certain point, I've heard it all. But again, here's what the market has done this year, right? So I guess like the reality of it as well is that a lot of the bears have been saying the market was red here, you know, so they were saying the market was going to crash in April and May. Then they said it was going to happen in June and July. And now they're saying it's going to happen in August, you know. And again, maybe we do, maybe we don't. But so far on the year, at least, the market is up drastically on the year. Very strong market this year. I think it's still up like 35 or 40% this year so far. And so again, a couple things. Number one is I think it could be time for a dip. And I think we got a dip over the last few days. Now, the question is, do we continue in this trend? If we're looking at a longer term trend, I think we can see one here. It doesn't mean we're actually going to follow this trend, but I think like we can see the trend there. And I think we can see the trend there and see that we might have a potential, I think if we bounce here, we could continue that trend. Looking at the SPY is currently at 447s, and so the SPY is currently right around here. So we're right at the bottom of that trend line. And so again, chat, do you think the market bounces here and continues in this upward trend, or do you think we have a much more profound correction? Again, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. The SPY had a slight green day. We're actually pretty flat over the last couple days. So again, like right now where the SPY is, we're actually pretty neutral relative to the open yesterday. Again, AMC is still trying to hold here. We can look at AMC. Again, I don't know what we're going to do. I think around 5% more dip next 2 months. It pays to be bearish every now and then. Sure, listen, I understand that. I short the market. Yesterday, I made most of my money shorting. Like, if you look at my day trading account, yesterday, we made a large majority of our money shorting the market. And again, that was a nice little sum of money here for sure. Like, here was my day yesterday shorting the market. We had a 3.5 to 1 win-loss ratio. Again, we pumped up to making about $1,100, mostly short. Like, this was mostly all on the short side. And so I understand it pays to short. Again, I get for people to understand my bias, and maybe it is just bias, okay? But again, for the last few years, right? So for the last few years, every major economic release, like people wonder why it's like I get kind of perturbed at like people acting like every major economic report we're going to crash, right? Because again, I've seen it so much. I really have. Like I've seen so many people, every major CPI report, every FOMC meeting, every PPI report, they say, this is it. This is the spark. This is the straw that breaks the camel's back. Now we're going to drop. And again, over that time, the market is mostly ripped up over the last year. And so I guess at a certain point, I think we got to look at things objectively. And again, I don't know. I'm a little bit, I think the market's a little bit too high on the upside, but I think it's also a chance that we continue this trend. So I think there is a chance that we continue this trend. I think it's possible that we do. And again, we've mostly been let me add a little bit. So we just added a little bit more. We can figure out what else we're looking at there. I think people have to realize that is the Fed has printed how much money in the last 2 years. I keep thinking these new prices are unsustainable, but when you realize the amount of money, right? Exactly, Kurt. Like inflation is there, so like typically inflation in the market can have a positive correlation as well, where it's like if inflation is high, the market might continue to bounce because prices increase, because like I guess if prices are up, your revenue is going to be higher. You know what I mean? And so that's another dynamic of it that you got to pay attention to as well. Oh, sorry. So I was adding to one of my swing trades. If Treasury bills don't sell, we can see a massive drop. Yeah, I mean, Yeah, so 10 years have a yield of about 4.02% right now. Now, sometimes these can have an inverse correlation with market. Like if you don't know what yields are for treasury bills, these are basically bonds. All right, so bonds are basically the bonds are basically you loaning the government money and they give you a specific yield, yearly yield for that. Right, so right now 10-year treasury yields are 4%, a little bit over 4%. Now, we've seen a noticeable uptick over since April. April they hit lows of the year at about 3.3%. Now they're over 4%. So we're watching these treasury bills. They can have some movement with markets. This is mostly like we could watch treasury bills and bonds and stuff like that. And again, a lot of the time it depends. Like, so to put this into perspective, right? So like treasury bills are the safer investment vehicle. Like buying bonds, buying treasury bills are safer than buying stocks, right? And the yield is lower than typical stock yield, right? So like the S&P 500 on average will give you 6 to 12% a year, depending on what's going on market wise. Again, right now these 10 years are giving you about 4%. Now, the way you really watch these bills, like the easiest way to watch these bills is to look for divergence from these bills, right? So like typically short term, these can move against each other, but long term, they tend to follow each other as well. But it depends. It's very nuanced with treasury bills. And so what you can see is like if you get a really big divergence on one of these, like if the 10-year is down, if the 10-year is going down, but stocks are going up, typically there could be a correction potential. So that longer term, they can get a little bit closer together. Now, again, it's certainly more nuanced than that. And again, a lot of these are watched by like real estate. So like real estate, agents and real estate people typically watch this stuff much more than the markets do. But yeah, it's important to watch and important to kind of look at. Yeah, and I'm looking at this year, February. Let's look at there's a 9-month year to date. Yeah, they've had a pretty good year. Here's a 1 year. Have you heard AI Frank Sinatra singing Gangster's Paradise? Now I have it. Yeah, and again, to understand treasury bills and bonds and notes, again, bills, whether they're called, for those that might not understand this, okay, whether they're called bonds or treasury bills or notes, is all like they're all the same thing. They're all basically bonds, is what they're universally called as bonds, right? You can call them bills or notes, depends on the time. I believe if it's 1 year or less, it's called a bill. I think if it's from 1 to 10 years, technically it's called a note. And I think if it's over 10 years in terms of maturity date, then I think it's called a bond. But I think they're universally called bonds, to be honest. But they're all the same thing. They're all basically, there's different types of them. Most people are talking about treasury bonds and treasury bills, which are with the U.S. government basically saying here, so say you got $1,000, right? Say you got $1,000 and you buy a 10-year treasury bill. Right, so you're basically giving the government $1,000, and they're going to give you 4% on that $1,000 per year if it's a 4% one. So basically every year they're going to pay you $40. So over a 10-year period of time, they're going to give you about $400. Over a 10-year period. So that is basically what it is. But again, they're kind of, and now when you put this, so this is guaranteed yields, right? So when you invest in bonds or treasury notes or yields or bills or whatever you want to call them, I'm just going to call them bonds, I think. But when you invest in them, it's guaranteed returns, right? And now that's opposed to like the stock market where, again, it's much less guaranteed. You know, like the stock market on average gives you 6 to 12% a year, but if you get caught in like a bad year or a bad couple year period when the market crashes, you can lose a lot of money. You know, which is why people gravitate towards bonds in unfavorable markets for stocks, right? When the market is not super favorable for stocks, people tend to gravitate towards bonds, and vice versa. You know, when the market is not super favorable for bonds, when the yield goes down, typically it means people are taking their money and they're sticking it into the stock market. Just so you guys can understand like the general like view of what this is and how it influences things. Now, again, the rest of it is very subjective. Like what current bills mean for the rest of the market is very subjective. It's definitely not a given or a sure thing. Despite what people say or how people act, nobody really knows what the reaction is going to be to this type of stuff. It's all very nuanced, and it's something that, you know, you want to be very careful with in general. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we get. Yeah, Eli Lilly, I believe, reported their earnings today. I'm not sure. LLY. Yeah, so I think Eli Lilly did drop their earnings today. Look at AMC RIP. AMC at 530, 533 right now. Yeah. Again, we're watching the market. AMC pushing up a little bit. Eli Lilly is down a bunch. I guess the question is, should I cover the AMC earnings call today? The earnings are actually out already. I guess I could cover it. Now, what's the best way to sell position and toss? Sell, market, or flatten? Well, it depends on what time it is, Harry. So in pre-market, you're not going to be able to sell market. You're going to have to use a limit order. Flatten, I think, is a market order as well. They're basically the same thing. But so Shepard, the banks are down after Moody's downgraded Pinnacle and What was the other? They downgraded Pinnacle and M&T Bank. M&T Bank and Pinnacle were downgraded by Moody's. They're thinking about downgrading State Street and the Bank of New York. What time is the AMC earnings call, guys, today as well? I don't know. Again, we're watching the SPY here. SPY's mostly been dipping down. AMC still popping up a little bit. Again, we're looking at some news. Check. All right, guys. So just flatten, get a best fill. Never tried. I don't know. I never tried using flatten. I mostly just mark it out if I really got to get out if it's during market hours. All right, guys. So yeah, we're watching this. I'm gonna go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Yeah, there's AMC numbers. All right, so we're gonna do a poll. Do banks bounce back during market hours today? Here's my bathroom break question. Do banks bounce back? Let me know right now. All right, we're back. Again, no bounce. They bounce if the credit situation changes. Thank you. What time do these government guys wake up? It's like they woke up at 3 a.m. Let's downgrade the banks. Well, this is Moody's. So this is a Reddit creating it. So Moody's. So Moody's, if you ever, I think it's the right one. So if you ever see the Big Short movie, if you've ever watched the Big Short movie, and you know the old lady with like the glasses that are like, Mr. Burry, you know, no, I cannot. That's Moody's, right? They're the rating agencies. They're the ones that had so much, lack of a better word, corruption in the months leading up to the 2008 financial crisis. The rating agencies were some of the biggest culprits of why this happened, because what was going on was like they would put these CDOs, these collateralized debt obligations, and they would rate those securities. They would rate those assets, right? And even though those assets were made of like terrible mortgages, terrible loans, defaults, and all that stuff, even though they were obviously like terrible vehicles, the rating agencies would give them a AAA rating regardless of that, right? And so that made a lot of people buy into that stuff when they shouldn't have. And leading into 2008, that's ultimately what helped start the financial crash of 2008, is because these rating agencies were so corrupt that they were so competitive with the other agencies that, you know, if they didn't give them a AAA rating, you know, they said that they would go to their competitors and get the AAA rating there. And so just to remain competitive, they would just kind of slap a AAA rating on these terrible investment vehicles. And again, ultimately, that helped spark the financial crash of 2008. All right, AMC still popping up. It's at 530s. Again, the SPY's still down on the day, but bounce back a little bit short term here. Again, there's AMC numbers. Yeah. Does anybody know when AMC's actual earnings call is going to be? Does anybody know? All right, so here's the 8 a.m. scrum. What did Palantir end up doing here? I know they dropped their earnings yesterday. The banks downgraded, or not the banks didn't get downgraded. The rating agencies downgraded the banks. They downgraded, again, Moody's downgraded M&T and Pinnacle, and they're also placing the Bank of New York and State Street on review for a potential downgrade. So if they announce New York and State Street downgrade, that might dip the markets even more. But yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at right now. All right, AMC still trying to surge up. MNPR, didn't they have earnings today? Yeah, they're ripping up. I don't know what they're ripping up on. That's not today. I see it's a penny stock flying up. Yeah, so this looks like a biotech stock. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stream the Datadog earnings call. It's just not a big enough company. Yeah, but that might be wrong. Again, AMC said their earnings were going to be released this evening, and they instead dropped them at 6 a.m. this morning. So great scheduling and organization for AMC. Great job, AMC. Great way to stay organized. And again, I'm glad they're up. I'm in AMC right now, so I'm glad they're up, but I'm kind of frustrated. So Lucid had their earnings call as well. All right, so in Lucid's SPAC presentation from 2021, it forecast that it would bring revenue of $5.5 billion in 2023. It announced $151 million of revenue in the second quarter. So again, that's about $600 million in revenue for the year if it stays in that specific trend, which is obviously way below their predictions of $5.5 billion by this year. I think it's planned. Yeah, maybe. Why Palantir is dropping? I mean, I don't know why some stuff is dropping. It looks like Palantir reported their earnings yesterday, so I think Palantir dropped their earnings yesterday. All right, so the U.S. SEC charged 11 Wall Street firms with record-keeping failures with a total of $289 million in penalties. So that's a pretty big thing. You can see that right there. So again, they charged 11 firms. All right, so JD Sports Marketing Investment Group minority acquisition will become 100% sole owner of MIG. Fox Corporation posted 88-cent profit per share versus 72-cent estimates. Revenue of $3.03 billion. They expected $3.03. Authorized a $7 billion share buyback. Dish posted a revenue beat. Yeah, sorry, I'm gonna mute the music real quick for a second. I gotta work on something. All right, so again, SPY still testing lows down here. So the SPY down here is all the way at 447s, 447s. Let's look at a level here. This looks like a 447 whole dollar seems like a relevant spot to watch. So that's that level there. We'll see if we actually bounce here or what happens. But 447 whole dollar. All right, guys. So again, we got some stuff going on. All right. So again, we got CPI data, guys. We're looking at the latest reading. Let's see if we can find a graph. Charts. Yeah, so we're looking at some of these graphs here. Again, with CPI data coming out, I'm going to show you guys this too. But with CPI data coming out, you can kind of see this graph. This is the average price data in the US dollars. So you can see, for the most part, we've had some big increases leading up to this year. And this is a really interesting chart because you can kind of see we had some big increases this year, but we did have a nice noticeable decline. So that's nice to see. And again, we'll see if we keep that trend up. The SPY did break under that level, so we did drop under that spot. And again, I don't know if we're going to continue or not, what's going to happen there, but yeah, again, we'll see if we bounce. AMC dipping down to 530s again. All right, so let's see if we hold this bottom. So again, we dipped onto this 447. Let's see if this level, this previous support level turns into resistance at 447. So we broke underneath it and then we bounced back up. Again, we'll see if we actually hold that spot as resistance now. You're pulling back up to that spot. AMC still dipping. We'll have to look at the Q. I have to look at the Q to see if the NASDAQ's moving with us here, just like the SPY. Typically, the NASDAQ moves slightly different than the SPY. We also have PPI later this week, so it's not just CPI. So the producer price index is another pretty important release that drops. We are getting a bounce back up, so we're back over that specific level here. We're watching the market consolidate and hold. And again, we have AMC at 530s. Let me check my alerts. Again, well, another thing I was looking at for the CPI graph. So again, here's a really interesting graph, right? So here's the inflation data. Again, so the last 12 months, we've seen a noticeable decline in energy prices. So again, here's energy. It's down 16.7. So energy is down 16.7% over the last 12 months. Everything else is slightly up. But remember, guys, like we do tend to have increases in this stuff over time. So the natural state of prices tend to go up long term because, again, prices increase as time goes on. Inflation is a real thing and prices do increase over time. But again, I think when you look at that last graph, we do see a decline in the rate of increase of inflation, which is a good thing, a positive thing. Now, again, I'm not saying it's going to continue that. But again, what we're expecting for this next CPI report on Thursday, I believe, is 0.2%. I believe is what it is. So I think we're expected to show up at 0.2% for this next one. Let me take a look at Market Watch and see what Market Watch is showing me. I'm pretty sure it's 0.2%. So again, if we look at Thursday report, here's Market Watch. Again, 0.2% is overwhelmingly expected. And again, you can kind of see Thursday for base CPI is 0.2%. For regular CPI is 0.2% as well. So for all of these reports, just like the last one, everything came in at 0.2% for the last reading. Core CPI expected at 0.2%, which is, again, excluding food and energy. And so excluding food and energy, we're expecting 0.2%. Base CPI is expected to show at 0.2% as well. And year over year CPI is expected at 3.3%. And so that is essentially what we got going on right now with CPI data. Again, 3.3%, which is a 0.3% increase relative to the last one, 0.2% on everything else. So again, core CPI 0.2%. Last time was 0.2%. Regular CPI 0.2%. Last time was 0.2%. Core CPI year over year is expected to go down 0.1%. Last time it was 4.8. They're expecting 4.7% this time. And so again, team, we'll see what we get here. And again, we're watching the market flush a little bit now. Let's see if we continue to get some breakdowns here. Let me pull this down. Trying to watch my profit graph here. Okay. So we're up slightly on the day so far. But yeah, let me put the music back on. There you go. There's no economic data. Yeah, so there's no economic data in a couple minutes. There's just nothing really coming out. Yeah, so there's not really any economic data. This week's slow for economic data until Thursday with CPI and then Friday with PPI. So it's been a pretty slow week. Why are people promoting? It's not that people are promoting Palantir. Palantir is like a really hyped up stock. It's got a lot of followers. Like a lot of people watch Palantir and trade it. So it's not that people are promoting it or choosing to promote it. Palantir's just got a lot of bag holders, to be honest. Market's starting to bounce back up, though. Again, you can kind of see the SPY back over 447. It seems to be like a relevant spot, but it is rebounding some. They said Alpha was coming back. Yeah, Alpha is coming back. I don't know when the story was. Yeah, we got some Fed speakers today. Yeah, so we got some speakers. Again, you should be able to hear the music, I think, right? Yeah. Futures market is a buy. I don't know if anything's really a buy right now. I'm just kind of sitting tight on everything. Yeah, market's actually starting to bounce back up a little bit. Again, you can kind of see the SPY. We can put the Q up in the NASDAQ so you guys can see what that's doing as well. Like, here's the Q. Q's moving back up some. SoFi on sale. Yeah, I don't know much about SoFi as a company, to be honest. So like, I don't really know enough about SoFi to really say good or bad. I know it's like a bank stock, almost like a tech bank stock, but again, I don't know much about it. It's yapping down some. It's at $9 a share. I just don't know enough about it to really say good or bad, to be honest here. So y'all can tell me if you like SoFi or not. Again, it's just a stock that I'm not buying it personally myself, you know. Everything's dropping in pre-market. Yeah, well, the market's down mostly from the bank downgrades from Moody's. So, I mean, the market's starting to surge up a little bit here, so we are getting some bounces. SoFi's a big, yeah, I know. I've seen some stuff about SoFi, but again, it's just not one I'm like the most familiar with. Again, we can go through some of the news today. We have the trades balance in goods. So we do have the trade balance in goods and services at 8:30 this morning. Again, Moody's cut the credit ratings of 10 U.S. banks and said it was reviewing ratings of 6 others. And so to put that into perspective, again, Moody's did cut the ratings of 10 regional banks. It's mostly regional ones. It's not any major ones, but it's Pinnacle, I think, is the biggest one. Again, S&P having a red day, but looking at electric prices. Again, so the next few months is when the Cybertruck should drop. What do you guys think is going to happen to Tesla stock when that drops? I think we could get a big move up. Yeah, so SPY bouncing back up a little bit. Let me know if you guys see any good trades. Again, I don't really see anything that I like super heavy today. I'm looking for maybe like a rejection back down. We're kind of running into the support level that you can kind of see here. And so I guess I'm kind of looking at this level right here, watching the market closely to see if we hold or don't hold that specific level. Again, so in 10 minutes, we do have the goods and trade balance that might be relevant for everything. AMC's still surging up some, and again, I don't know when their earnings call is actually going to be. They were supposed to release their earnings this evening, but for whatever reason, they did it early. They dropped their numbers early. I have the Dow. Datadog coming back up. Yeah, it might bounce back up a little bit. That's typically what happens. Lilly, LLY, man, that thing had a great day too. It's up from 450s to 490s. Yeah, the red book's not really the most important thing, though, Ace. I mean, you can watch it, but it's not like a huge, like, major release that everybody watches. It's not going to move the markets that much, to be honest. And again, if you haven't already, again, check out Moomoo. Moomoo is just a really nice platform, guys. This is kind of giving me my one-stop shop for economic data and like looking up stuff. So again, I can pull up their economic calendar. I can see CPI dropping, crude oil inventories dropping tomorrow, PPI dropping Thursday, retail sales dropping next week. And I can get like a firm grasp of what's going on, both in economic data, earnings, IPOs, dividends. I can see market holidays as well. Again, this paperfolio section, we started following this person. You can follow different traders. You can see how much they're up total, how much they're up on the month, how much they're up on the day, how many fans they have, and find the traders that have the best portfolios. I like this person's portfolio. And again, you can see they're up 21% on the month. I can follow them by just clicking follow, which I did. And now I can mimic their trades if I want to, see what they're doing, mimic their trades. Really useful. Again, I can go to the explore section in the US and see all the best performing sectors. I can see what's moving in pre-market. I can see what hot stocks are going on after hours list. All this different stuff. And it's just incredibly useful. Or I could go to news and see the biggest headlines of the day. Again, this one report does show a lot of what's going on. So again, they release this report daily, and you can kind of see a firm grasp of what's going on in markets. So just very, very useful, guys. It's zero commission stock trades. So you can trade stocks with zero commissions. And the best part is that it's open the entire pre-market. So it starts, you can trade on Moomoo at 4 a.m. if you want to. Just very useful. They are a sponsor of mine. I'm definitely biased, but again, it's just incredibly useful if you want to check it out. And if you want a good spot for you to find all of this different stuff in one place, Moomoo is a good option. If you open up an account and deposit $100, you get 5 free stocks. You open up an account and deposit at least $1,000, you get 15. You open up and deposit over 5K, you get 15 plus a free share of Google or Tesla. And I did get Tesla. So really useful. Check them out. Have you made an account we can follow? No, but I mean, this is paper trading though. So like this is paper folio. So like this is just paper trading. And so, you know, I think it's paper trading. Again, market's starting to get a little bounce back here, guys. So market's starting to bounce back a little bit now. So again, market's ripping back up. We'll see if it actually holds these moves, but it's starting to do stuff. I'm not sure, Chris. I have to check it out. Yeah, I think regardless of whether this is paper or real, I think it's useful. Let me look this up. Yeah, I'm kind of looking this up. I think this is actually a competition where you win free stuff. Yeah, so Moomoo's portfolio enables users to create a simulated portfolio or a paperfolio containing a cross-market collection of CNA shares, which can effectively reduce the correlation among investments and help users simulate trading of baskets of stocks in a quick and easy manner. Yeah, so this is just paper. Again, the markets are starting to bounce back, though, here a little bit, guys. We'll see if they continue to bounce. Yeah. Yeah, AMC ripping up to 537s here, guys. 537s. Again, the NASDAQ and the SPY have both been bouncing back pretty sturdy over the last like 20 minutes or so. All right, we're up to almost 540. Yeah, Apple currently. Apple's green on the day. It's at 179. So Apple's still green. AMC's still ripping up though. Again, we got 3 minutes. I'll go ahead and report on whatever data this is that comes out today. So again, we'll go ahead and report on it. Again, what we got coming out today, it's not a big release. Remember, it's Wednesday. So again, today we got Redbook. And we have import, exports, and trade balance data. Again, trade balance data is probably the biggest one. It's expected at minus 65 billion for trade balance data, minus 65 billion. It measures the difference in value between imported and exported goods. A positive number indicates that more goods and services were exported than imported, which is a trade surplus, which is good. A negative number indicates that fewer goods and services were exported than imported, which is a trade deficit, which is typically a little bit bearish. So again, we're expecting minus 65. And again, that drops in about a minute and a half. We'll see what it shows up as. I'll cover it when it drops. Yeah, again, I mean, typically fundamentals are going to be much more influential than technicals ever could be, just because, I mean, fundamental data moves the market. The market is about fundamentals more than technicals. Technicals are more of a shorter term trading system. Like, you can use technicals long term, but the real edge with technicals is going to be short term versus long term. Like, long term technicals don't mean as much as people think they do, because again, long term, like, the fundamentals are going to play out. Like fundamentals, there's less variance long term than short term. And what I mean by that is, like, technicals are great. You can look at support, you can look at resistance, you can look at extension and all that stuff. But in the end, healthy companies are going to go up long term, and unhealthy companies that aren't making money are going to go down long term for the most part. And that's the big thing to understand. We got 20 seconds, guys, before this report. All right, so here's the report, 4 seconds. And this data showed up at minus 3.73 billion, minus 3.73 billion. So much, oh no, that's for Canada, I'm sorry. So we came in at minus 65.5, a little bit higher of a deficit than expected. So a little bit higher than expected deficit here for the goods trade balance. So again, minus 65.5 versus minus 65 billion expected. Again, I don't know what this means, or I know what it means, but I don't know what the market's going to do, I guess is my point here. We'll see if we get some continuation in movements. All right, so we are getting some turn downs from this activity here. And again, if you haven't already, check out Topstep. Topstep is a funded program for futures where they give you a demo and they test your skill. It really is the single most useful way to day trade without taking on a lot of risk. And if you're trying to day trade, you should be trading futures. And again, you might not understand what I mean by that, but like, futures market has no PDT restrictions. It's a free way to trade. You can day trade with no red tape and restrictions in terms of the PDT rule. You can day trade the S&P 500, which again shows very similar patterns to something like Apple or Amazon or Disney. And so you're essentially trading large cap patterns in the S&P 500. You're day trading those patterns, which are much more consistent, much easier to learn. much more reliable, but it is subjective, I guess. But again, there's no PDT rules, so you can day trade on a margin account. You can buy market, buy bid, sell the ask, just like stocks, but with no PDT restrictions. And the most legit funded program in the world is Topstep. They pay out millions in actual withdrawals every year. They fund thousands of traders a year. It really is incredibly useful because it limits your risk. Where what Topstep does is they give you a demo. The base one's 50K. If you can hit 3K in profit on that 50K demo in futures without losing over 2K and following the rest of their rules, they fund you 50K with a 90% split, and you get to keep your first $10,000 in profit. So again, the reward is basically the same as putting the money up yourself, minus 10%, right? So the reward is basically the same, but the risk is so much less to where if you lose, it's much less than you would lose if you put the money up yourself. And so it's the best of both worlds, and it really is a great way to learn how to trade. And there's free funding coaches and all that good stuff as well. So again, if you want to join the wait list to get signed up with them, check out the link. If you join the wait list, they should let you sign up eventually. Here's the link. Great way to help support the channel. You can check out that link right there. Definitely appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know, Oleg. I'm never gonna tell anybody what to buy, brother. I have no idea what y'all should buy or sell. No idea. Again, the NASDAQ started to dip down a little bit. All right, and CPI, guys, day after tomorrow, CPI report. One of the biggest releases in markets. So, again, we'll see if we get anything good. Let me pause the music for a second again, guys. And again, let me mute this, and then there we go. Yeah, so again, the last CPI report, we actually moved up some relative to the release. So like last time we came in as expected, and the market actually moved up a sizable amount. And we just kind of kept pushing up. So if we look at like a daily chart here, the last CPI report, let's take a look at the last report. Let me see, we'll put a 5-minute chart up. Let me check more out here. There we go. Yeah, so again, consumer price index on Thursday, and then Friday we have the PPI report, which is the other side of that coin. Every week, every time CPI report drops, we have the other side of that, which is PPI. I have to look at what the PPI numbers are expected to show up as, but that typically drops. So we'll have to see what PPI is a little bit harder to predict, though. It's not as easy to predict. Like with CPI, it's something that like if you get lower than expected CPI, that's usually obviously a good thing. With PPI, it's a little bit more nuanced, in all honesty. Like it's less guaranteed. It's less guaranteed a reaction, I guess, if that makes sense. Like we don't really exactly know, even if we come in low for PPI, what the market's going to do. And I would say it's a little bit more random of a reaction in terms of like predictable reactions with CPI and PPI. Now, again, we'll see what happens there. Again, the SPY's still steadily bouncing here. If we look at the last CPI report, it came out on July 12th, I believe. And I'll have to look at what the CME watch tool actually shows. Apple's still bouncing up, back over 179. Let me find all right, so again, let's get this out the way. Big Papa Powell, man. But yeah, let's see if all right, so there we go. We're not lagging as much anymore. I have to exit out of some stuff. I'm trying to get back to the last July reading, which let me zoom all the way back out here. All right, so there's might have to go back a little bit farther here. I'm going to put a 10-minute chart up so we can actually see. Apple's still surging up. Apple at 129.50 or so. All right, so yeah, here is the last CPI report, which was on, I believe, July 12th, right? So here it is right here. So again, you can kind of see this move right here. So this was the last CPI report. So the last CPI report, we came in as expected. And again, you can kind of see 8:30 on July 7th right here. Again, the last report came in. And we actually had a pretty good upward move here. So like there's the upward move that we had from CPI. And we actually held that move. So if we keep going back here. So again, there's the report right here. And again, you can kind of see, let me see if I can draw something else on this, but you can kind of see what the market did. The market mostly popped up. We did dip down over the last couple of days, but again, relative to that last CPI report, the market is still green from it. So the market's still green. It's not like super red or anything like that from this report. So over the last 30 days, the market is technically green. And over the last CPI report, the market's still technically green. So yeah, again, let me know if you guys think that. What do you guys think we're going to see for the next CPI reading after this one? Will the market be green or red from it? Let me know what you guys think. Let me get the music back on in a second here as well. Yeah, and I think everybody's expecting a pause for the next rate hike. So the next rate hike, let me look at what the Fed is actually looking at. I'm looking at the market today. Again, Apple probably dragging the market up a little bit. I see Apple flying up. So I think Apple might be helping the market. Yeah, and so again, in June, we reported 0.2% for CPI for June, which was the last reading on the 12th. And yeah, the market did react positively. AMC dipping down to 530s. Yeah, so again, the biggest decreases we've seen in terms of prices is energy and gas, basically. Gas has gone down almost 17% over the last 12 months in terms of prices, right? So gas is down almost 12% in terms of price, and everything else is up. But again, the natural state of things is that prices typically go up. But it is relevant. But so gas is decreasing. A lot of people like core CPI, but the problem with core CPI is that food and energy are some of our largest purchases. So like if food and energy are some of our largest purchases, looking at data that excludes those two doesn't make a ton of sense to me, in my opinion. Like I think we have to look at food and energy prices because they are very relevant to the economy and the market in general. It's something that we should be paying attention to. And yeah, Thursday will be the time. Yeah, so looking at the rate hike percentage again, we're taking a look at all this data right here. So here's the CME watch tool. Again, currently we did last time we raised rates, right? I think we raised rates. So yeah, so for September Fed meeting. So the Fed meeting in September is going to be almost everybody is expecting a pause for September. So almost everybody's expecting a pause. Again, 87.5% are expecting a pause. Only 12.5% are expecting an actual rate hike. So a large majority of people, basically 9 out of 10 people are expecting a pause for the next FOMC meeting in September. And again, you can see Apple dragging the market up a little bit. Look at the market bounce back. We're right around that 200 EMA VWAP level here. So the market wants to bounce back, it seems. Again, market just broke over the 200 EMA on the NASDAQ here. Let me see if we can put this out there. There we go. Thursday. Will the market go up or down? Let's look at our poll numbers. We also did a poll. SPY still ripping up again. Apple, one of the most heavily weighted stocks, is kind of the reason the market's moving up. All right, there we go. Apple just seems to be an easy win, 8%. Yeah, I mean, I don't understand the people who bet against Apple. I do think it's a sucker's bet. I think Apple's one of the largest, healthiest companies in the world. Now, their PE ratio, despite like all the craziness, is not super high either. So it's not like their PE ratio is like crazy high. You know, if their PE ratio was crazy high, I would understand being skeptical of it a little bit more. But when your PE ratio is 30 and it's still up huge amounts on the year, I mean, it's kind of one of those things that's just kind of surprising. Again, I think people effect, category effect, where everybody kind of wants to be short biased and call the next big market crash. But yeah, look at Nvidia rip, guys. You get Nvidia pumping up a little bit too. It's at 450. So gap down a significant amount here. So we did gap down a lot. All right, there goes Nvidia. So yeah, Nvidia gap down in pre-market, but it is starting to bounce back a little bit. I need to exit out of some stuff. Let me there we go. Yeah, mostly the market's down after credit downgrades on a couple banks. That's typically what's, pulling the market down with us. Again, look at AMC, still holding. When do you guys show the earnings call is supposed to start? BURU pity stock. Let me see. Yeah, that is a crazy gap up. CPI is at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Again, y'all green or red so far today? Let me know. Again, we'll see what the market shows us. Yeah, but I mean, Chris, they've been saying that for years, man. Green, red, green. NASA contract for BU. I'm not saying that's not going to happen, Chris, but again, it's something that, like, look, throughout the history of the world, there's always conflicts and problems arising. You know, I think what happens a lot of the time is that people like watch the news and they get really wrapped up in it. And that scares them because what sells in the news is sensationalism, right? So what sells in news is like excitement, like risk, craziness, fear. You know, like that's what sells you on the news. And again, the world's actually a lot more stable now than it ever was 100 years ago. You know what I mean? But like people think it's crazier nowadays because nowadays we got 24/7 news services with cameras showing you exactly what's going on all across the world. But like the world in and of itself has always kind of been this way. And with the stuff happening overseas, again, there's risks there, sure. But you don't want to lose the big edge that the market gives you, which is long term. The market's going to go up, you know. And I think a lot of people, you know, no matter what point in time you look at news, it always seems unstable worldwide, you know. But again, you don't want to miss out on the big long term edge that the market gives you, which is most of these blue chip healthy companies are going to go up long term, despite macroeconomic, you know, news or craziness or whatever it is. Yeah, so I know the earnings for AMC are already out. What time do y'all think the earnings call is going to be? Yeah, I mean, a great example. NVIDIA, I don't know if is the best example of it, but like if you look at, say, Apple, you know, they always say when in doubt, zoom out. I'll put a weekly chart up and you can really see, like, here's the long-term trend of Apple. We can pull the same thing up for Microsoft. The same thing up for Amazon. You know, there's Microsoft right there. Here's Amazon. Here's Walmart. Let it load. But Walmart will show you a very similar chart to all this. Yeah, there's Walmart. Walmart's still looking pretty good. And again, maybe we do get some stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like maybe we do get some macroeconomic conflict, you know, catalysts. But again, the reality of it is, it's something I tell like my wife. It's something I tell my in-laws, which is like the people who lose the most in market crashes are people who sell. Right, the people who lose the most are people that get emotional and sell. Like in 2008, right? I remember when 2008 happened. The people who lost the most from 2008 are people who got emotional and sold. And I understand, like, it's a worry, and it's subjective, so it's not everybody. Like certain people have to retire, right? So they got to protect their retirement, and that's different. If you're like imminently about to retire, that's one thing. But if you're a young person like me, man, even if we do crash, I'll probably start buying stuff up, to be honest. And I don't. So in that regard, I don't mind it. Well, the microchip stocks might be risky there. What sells in the stock market is fear and doom. 100%. It's something that you see from a lot of, like, to put it into perspective, right? Like, here's the reality of it. All right, so here we'll put the NASDAQ up. Here's the Q. So I'll put it this way. For whatever reason, and again, here's the thing to watch, right? So here's the thing that you really want to watch. If you want to watch somebody or follow somebody online, here's the reality of it, right? You got a lot of these gurus, you know, some of them with millions of subscribers, or at least over 1 million subscribers, that like they refuse to ever admit when they're wrong. Again, I'm not going to name names because I don't really like the drama, but a lot of these guys have been telling you that the market was going to crash every major economic report. So every major economic report, they say the market's going to crash, the market's going to crash. And, you know, like this is a good example. On the last couple CPI reports, there's this one guy who's basically been telling you the market's going to crash every CPI report. And if you look at what the market's essentially done this year, The market has flown up this year. Here's a weekly chart. The daily chart's even more profound. You know, where like, look at this year, guys. So April, May, February, January, this is this year. And so if you listen to a lot of these guys that are basically telling you, hey, the market's going to crash, you're going to miss out on this big gains that the market gave you. And again, I'm not telling you to buy. I don't know what the market's going to do, but I'm not one of those people that desperately need to be right. I'm not going to make big predictions. I don't know what the CPI report's going to show. I don't know if it's going to be up or down. I don't know if it's going to be better or worse. I don't know if the market's going to go red or green from it. I really don't. I don't know if it's going to come in low like it wants to or like we want it to, or it's going to come in high. What I will say is that nobody else knows either. And so, again, what I've noticed is that like a lot of these gurus make these big, bold predictions about these. Like one guy basically told you guys the market was going to crash during the FOMC or CPI reports, right? And it's like what happens is the market doesn't crash. The market ended up going up. And so he might have made the call right here, you know, but the market has just kind of kept pulling up. So when we finally get a little dip, he's like, see, I told you we'd get a pullback. It's like, yeah, but you told us we'd get a pullback back here, not way up here. You know, but again, a lot of them are selling courses, right? So the ones that you really got to watch are the ones that are selling courses. Most of the content you can find in those courses are publicly available. Like you can find this content on the internet for free. You don't need to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars on these courses, right? But because they're selling courses, they can't admit they're wrong, essentially. Like if they admit they're wrong, people are going to shame them for it. And so they just kind of never admit they're wrong, and they keep doubling down on the crash predictions. And I think that influences a lot of people's bias. I think that ends up influencing people on a longer term perspective of where they start to get kind of bearish to where they think every economic release we're going to crash. And it just kind of spirals into this thing where before you know it, they're betting that the market's going to go down long term. And that's a sucker's bet. The market's not going to go down long term, at least. Within a year or two, the market might go down. We might have bear markets. But if you zoom out longer, you're going to see the market's natural state is that it's going to go up over time. At least blue chip healthy companies, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, the Dow, they're going to go up long term. And I think once you understand that aspect of the market, which is that it's going to go up long term, you start to really see how, hey, the best bet is to follow these blue chip healthy companies, you know, and just work with it. But again, that's my own bias. Maybe I'm wrong. I certainly have bias there as well. And again, it's all love regardless. Oh, yeah. With any specific day, you don't know what the market's going to give you. You don't know whether the market's going to go up, down, or sideways any specific day. I actually made most of my money shorting yesterday. So it's not like I only go long. I'm just trying to teach people the real edge of the market, like long term. Like you don't want to get stuck into where you're like, and again, I think what happens is political bias influences people as well. Like if you lean right to the right, which again, I'm pretty neutral politically, but if you lean to the right and the other party is currently in power, you're going to kind of want that party to fail, right? So you're going to have a natural negative bias against the markets where you're going to be like, oh, well, you know, the market's just terrible right now under his watch or whatever it is, right? But again, you got to try to be objective. The market's typically going to go up long term. And again, I'm not being political. I'm not political at all. I dislike both sides equally. I'm very neutral politically. But I guess my point is like you don't want to let political bias creep in and have you betting against the market long term. Because again, that's a recipe for failure in my opinion. Even if we do crash, the likelihood that you're going to be able to predict that crash short term is very, very, very low. Yeah. Yeah, I just again, I want the market to go up. I do think we're extended right now though on the upside to where it's like I'm hesitant buying up a lot of these big tech stocks right now specifically. Like I'm not really buying Apple right now or Amazon right now, or you know, I think I'm holding a little bit of Google. I like Google, but I don't think I'm not holding anything super long term in big tech. I just think they're a little bit too high. All right, so again, the market ripped up, tested the 200 EMA, tested the volume weighted average price, and now we're just kind of sitting tight right there. Again, we'll see if we actually hold. Yeah, well, risk management is always one of those hard things to get right. And again, I think people understand me, and like one of the things that influences me is like, look, definitive statements are where I have an issue. Yeah, and I mean, Chris, I don't know if you and me are talking about the same person. There's a lot of people that are basically telling everybody the market was going to crash through these big economic reports. I doubt you and I have the same person, but either way, I'd rather not name names, and it's all good. I guess my point is like, you see a very consistent thing happening where every major economic release, certain gurus post a video talking about how the market's going to crash and the world's in doom and gloom, and then the market ends up ripping up. When you notice it enough where it's like, okay, post a video saying the market's going to crash, the market flies up. Post a video that says the market's going to crash, the market flies up. After a certain point, you start to look and be like, hey, he's just trying to get clicks, you know. Oh, the CEO of Foxconn, gotcha. Yeah, all good. But again, one thing that I don't usually go with is definitive statements. Definitive statements are usually anybody posting true and like definitive statements like the market is going to do this, the market's going to do that short term about like economic data or anything like that typically knows the least, because people who know the most are usually not very definitive in terms of statements. They understand that it's all based off of probabilities and nobody really truly knows exactly what's going to happen. And so again, if you see somebody posting definitive statements talking about the market is going to do something short term, long term, you can bet the market's going to go up. Essentially, you zoom out enough, the market's going to go up long term. It's not even arguable. It's a certainty. The market's going to go up long term, unless it's not a certainty. All right. Let me rephrase that. Unless you get like a black swan scenario where you get crazy economic and macroeconomic turmoil, with like the worst ever thing, like terrible stuff happening. That's a different story. But again, that's very low probability. As long as the U.S. stays safe and you know all that stuff, the market's going to go up long term. Yeah, I'm not naming them. I don't name anybody. I don't want drama. I'm just trying to protect traders. Yeah, and I understand like the stock market is just mass psychology. Like it doesn't have to do anything. If it had to do anything, people would just sit around waiting for earnings to drop and then just buying good earnings and selling bad earnings. It would be really easy to make money. But again, the market is not based purely off of company health. It's based off of psychology and opinions of company health more than the companies themselves. All right, guys, we got less than 30 minutes before the market opens, less than 30. Man, my computer's lagging. I might have let me exit out of some of this stuff. All right, so that should hopefully help me a little bit better here. Exit out of some of this stuff. I got too many screens up, I think, right now. There we go. It should be a little bit better. Is Palantir tanking? I mean, Palantir's pretty flat, man. It's pretty right around flat, neutral. CPI is Thursday. AMC still chugging upwards. Yeah, man. Whew, my computer is laggy here. Let me exit out of some of this stuff. We're gonna get ready to trade some futures market as well. So we're gonna just put the side chart up like this. I'll try to exit out of everything else. Let me switch to out of practice. All right. Palantir. Hey, never again will I ever get wrong. Yeah. Never again will I get Palantir wrong. Never again. I'm going to get it right every time. No. Why is Bitcoin going up so much? I don't know. Bitcoin, I'm about to hit 30K. We'll see if it does. Right, so here's the E-mini. I like the NASDAQ a little bit more, to be honest. I typically have better results trading the NASDAQ. We do look like we're in a little bit of a bear flag. I saw Pawn mention that. I think he's probably right. We'll put AMC up on the top right here too. Weird. Get some lag. All right, bear with me, guys. I got to pause this real quick. Let me add this to... Yeah, I know why we're lagging today. I got Phil Moore. We're debuting a video after the stream today, so yeah, that's why we're lagging a little bit, is because let's see what else we got. So we're trying to pick music for this stream. Did I download this? Let me see. Hold on. Okay, I guess so. There we go. Put that down here. All right. Almost done, guys. Almost done. And again, we're gonna get ready to day trade. We made about $300 or so in this account early. Market's still dropping, so it looks like the bear flag might have worked. Let me see if make sure I muted this here, guys. Bear with me. Okay, good. We did. Again, let's see. It looks like bear flag on the NASDAQ. All right, so we got a little bounce back up. So if we think we're going to keep that bearish trend, There's got to be a way for. All right, guys. And again, let me know what you guys think. Hopefully, we get funded on our second account pretty soon. I'm hoping we get funded on our second account pretty soon. We'll see if we do. But there's a little bounce. I might short this a little bit. I'm going to take one short in the NASDAQ. If we continue on that bearish flag, then that's great. If not, it's just one contract, and we're already up a couple hundred on the day. There's a nice little reversal here. We're up 25 bucks. So we're up slightly here. I'd love to see it, give it a chance to break down now that we're already in the green. All right, so we're back to flat, maybe down a little bit. We want to see if we reject at this spot. Flat. There we go. There's a little rejection. We'll see if we continue. We still got 20 minutes or so until the market opens up, but all right. So again, we're slightly green, slightly break even. Right at the break-even level. I can see Tesla bounce up to 247s or so, 247s, testing that level now. If that level rejects, that could give us some negative momentum in the NASDAQ too. All right, now we're bouncing up a little bit. Again, we're down slightly on the trade. We push up any more, I'm going to cut it, and very close to cutting it. If we break the top of that candle again, we're going to cut it. We keep pushing towards it there and then rejecting back down. So I do want to let it test, but again, hands over the cover button. And if we break the high of this candle, we're just going to have to get out. Still at the same spot, and we're going to have to cut it there. So again, we're still up a couple hundred on the day. Right now, we're up about 200 still. And maybe I think we could continue down, but yeah, I got stopped out of my first. I think that's like my first loss. We're still running a 2-to-1 win-loss ratio here. Look at Tesla, though. Tesla's helping this for sure. Look at this. Tesla pushing up over the last 5 minutes. We'll see if we retrace back there. AMC's still at 540s basically right now. So AMC's still at 540s. Again, so yeah, producer price index expected to show up at 0.2% this month. And again, we've seen 0.2% for everything lately. Last time we showed 0.1% for PPI. Last CPI report, we showed 0.2% on the month. And that was relative to the 0.2% expectations. For core CPI, again, we came in at 0.2 versus 0.2% expectation as well. Yearly CPI is expected to show up at 3.3% on the year, and that is an increase of about 0.3% relative to the last yearly CPI reading a month ago. All right, so we did get a little dip. So again, maybe I got faked out. It's all good. We're already up a couple hundred. I don't want to take too much crazy risks going into this. We have a nice little cushion, so I do have some room where if I really want to swing, I can. But yeah, we're watching it. Tesla finally dipped down under that previous level. But we did get a little dip. I might short this as well. So I'm going to short this little bounce. See if we get a little. We'll see if we get a a rejection at this level. But again, these are small size trades, guys. These are not big trades at all. These are very small size trades. We're not pushing super heavy with these, despite whether we're wrong or right here. I'm just small. Again, the goal is to take longer term trades in pre-market is not necessarily scalps. So again, the goal in pre-market is to take smaller size but longer term trades, if that makes sense. So like we can let it work more. There's less liquidity in pre-market, so like we can take smaller size and try to let a longer term trade work for me, as opposed to like after the opening bell where we might be a little bit more likely to scalp or take shorter term positions. All right, so we're moving up. We're green on this trade so far. Again, I want to give this a longer term trade, let it dip down a little bit more. All right, so there we go. We're up about 75 on this one. Again, try to be patient. Up a little bit here. I don't like this little candle, though. I don't like this little retracement candle. That doesn't necessarily look great to me. Hopefully we reject and come back down, and I think I got to be patient and let it work. But hopefully I'm just overanalyzing the candle, but it's all good. Again, we're green on the day. Not really any stress. All right. All right, there's a new candle. Open it up. We dipped a little bit. We're up $50 on this contract. Starting to pop up a little bit. We could probably cut this break even if it goes against this. Look at AMC rip, guys. AMC at 540s. 540s for AMC. Popping up big. Great earnings report for AMC. Had his first profit. All right, so we're moving up closer to break even. And again, we will cut this break even if it starts to really run up. Hopefully we reject around that previous high. AMC still moving up. Let's see if it breaks 550. I think that's a very relevant spot. But again, I got to limit my risk here. So we'll let it test my high. But yeah, we're going to cut it if it starts to really break. All right, so again, we're flat on this trade now. I'm letting it test this level, but again, we are going to cut it quick if it can't hold. And that's about right now. All right, again, we're break even is the only reason we're still in this. There we go. We're back to green. All right. Let me there we go. I'll put the music back on now too, guys, so you guys can listen to it. Oh man, so we're popping back up. I was trying to get everything managed on my end, but again, kind of a flat 10-minute period or so. Go ahead and cut it and get out. So yeah, we're still green, up like 150 bucks on the day. We took some swings, but we got caught in some flat, choppy action, which is all good. It happens. You know, it's not the end of the world. We'll see what the opening bell gives us. Nah, Mullen's a terrible, sketchy stock that is probably a bad long-term investment, but I don't know. So the bank downgrade happened. So Moody's downgraded the banks. They downgraded 10 regional banks, including Pinnacle. And that's ultimately what drug the market down. So that's ultimately what drug the market down. Bitcoin doing great today. Yeah, Bitcoin flying up to almost 30K. Under Armour, I don't know enough about Under Armour stock, to be honest. I just don't know much about it. Yeah, Topstep has but yeah, on Topstep you can day trade short. Topstep, you can day trade futures. There's no PDT rule in futures. You can day trade short in futures with no PDT restrictions. And so Topstep's the most legit futures funded program in the world. Again, they paused membership so they could catch up with some of their some of like the trade evade issues that they were dealing with. So I think they paused memberships. There's Tesla with a nice little bounce. We got 11 minutes, guys. Again, we are going to have a video that we debut after the stream today. So we're going to get a couple day trades in and hopefully get some good action and then bow out for the rest of the day. And again, the market's actually getting a little bit more resilient, starting to move back up some. At least the NASDAQ is. Again, I don't know if it's going to continue to be like this, but it's starting to look better. Again, for CPI data, we are expecting August 10th is when this next report is at 8:30. The inflation expectations for this report are, again, a bunch of green candles here. Again, the inflation expectations for base CPI are 0.2% and 3.3% on the year. 0.2% on the month is what they're expecting. All right, so we got a little pullback. Again, look at Tesla rip. Tesla at 247.50s. We still got 9 minutes. AMC did hit 550s. So again, AMC did hit 550s, which is kind of crazy. Look at Tesla rip at 247.80s, guys. 247.80s. AMC at 550s. Data. Again, man, look at AMC finally dipping down to 540s. We're at 247.60s right now. It's still moving up. Tesla finally getting a little baby dip, but again, been really strong over the last couple minutes. Let me fix this. And we got 6 minutes, guys. A little bit less than that, actually, but 6 minutes. Only getting a little dip, SPY dipping down. We're watching Apple as well pretty closely here. Apple been doing pretty well. Previous closing price bounce happened, and we're at 179.48. So it's futures only, Matthew. But in the futures market, you can day trade the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. But it's futures only. A lot of people... yeah, so... again, a lot of people day trading stocks or that are trying to day trade stocks should be day trading futures. Like, again, the patterns in the S&P 500 are going to be very similar to like Apple or Amazon patterns or Tesla or whatever. And so learning how to trade the S&P 500 momentum in day trading is much better than learning how to trade any individual stock in day trading, to be honest. And so for that reason, most day traders should be trading futures. And again, you can check out the link in the description if you want more info. But yeah. Yeah, Lilly ripped up. Eli Lilly flew up. Over 500s right now. There's Tesla pulling back a little bit. Again, the NASDAQ's too flat for me to be like super interested in trading it right now. All right, so again, you got to see the price action so far on the NASDAQ here. This is the trend over the last couple minutes. I would say we're slightly up. Like we have a slight ascending trend line here, but who knows what we're actually going to get. But I think we're slightly going up. You can trade Bitcoin futures contracts. There's not a ton of liquidity, but you can trade them on Topstep. Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is, like, if you look at Apple and then you pull up yeah, if you pull up the Q, for instance, and you pull up something like Tesla, you're going to get very similar patterns. Apple's a little bit different because Apple's been kind of leading the market today on the upside. Apple's ripping up almost the 180s again. But again, we've been in another slight downward trend the last few days, so... yeah, futures market is just risky to hold overnight. All right, guys, we got 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Again, look at Tesla dip down to 247s. I don't know if this is a real candle or not, but look at the Tesla candle right here. That's a big red candle. All right, so here's the opening bell in less than a minute, guys. Again, Tesla with a pretty big red candle. AMC still popping back up, still under 550s though. Yeah, man, my kids start school this week, so it's just been a busy week. Again, the NASDAQ bouncing back up, but a very sideways trend. You guys red or green so far today? Let me know. I'm definitely red in my swing trades, but again, they're longer term trades, to be honest. So we made a bunch on them yesterday, lost a little bit on them today, and we're still good. Tyson, man, did really well after the earnings dip, and then we bought the dip and got in on the bounce. All right, so here's the opening bell, guys. There's the opening bell. We got an initial dip on the NASDAQ here. So the NASDAQ falling down some. All right, so Tesla popping up a little bit at the open. Got a little dip on the NASDAQ at the opening bell, though. Q falling. Again, Tesla bouncing back up. Watching Apple as well here. Apple in the queue. We're keeping an eye on these two. Look at Tesla rip up to 248. Green, green. Again, look at Tesla rip. Kind of crazy how big of a bounce Tesla just made. Yeah, a lot of stuff's bearish. Again, NASDAQ consolidating here. Looks like it wants to bounce up here. We might take one contract here, see if we get a little pop. But it's risky. But again, just one contract. Consolidating back and forth between red and green. We break the bottom of this contract, though. We're going to have to cut it. Retracing back and forth, though. Consolidating back and forth, back and forth. Very choppy open. Yeah, we're going to have to cut that. So we just lost a little bit. We're slightly down on the day now, but we're down like 20 bucks. Probably got a little bit, jumped the gun a little bit too much today. My last few day trades haven't been going that great, which is all right. Like every day is not going to be green, and I'm kind of used to that, so it's all good there. My NVIDIA SOXS trade's doing well. My Disney trade is also green today too, but this looks bearish for sure. Yeah, we're not doing as great today, Alan, but again, every day is not going to be perfect, and again, I'm okay with that. We're watching the S&P, seeing a little bounce back. S&P looks like it wants to bounce, but let's see what the NASDAQ does. So the S&P 500 is actually starting to bounce back some. Yeah, we're going to slow down now. I mean, this is our graph today. So like we have a 1-to-1 win-loss ratio. We're down like 25 bucks. And so it could be worse. We're pretty flat. Yeah, so like we'll be all right. Right now, we mostly just have choppiness, man. The market's been pretty flat. Tesla's trying to come back a little bit. And sometimes like what happens with these big economic releases is like sometimes we get consolidation days today because the market is all waiting for the inflation data to drop today. or Thursday, right? So the market could be waiting for inflation data. AMC's coming all the way back down to the 520s, guys. All the way back down to the 520s. Dude, I got something in my eye, man. There we go. That's better. All right, so the S&P very flat right now, very flat. Let me fix this. I'm going to short this, but we're not going to hold it super long. Man, there's Tesla on a bounce. It might be time to cover. Just not great trades today, guys. So yeah, we're going to have to cut that one too. We'll probably slow down now. Again, it's just not the best day for me so far, at least. Getting super choppy action too. Yeah, we're definitely going to start slowing down. We might take some E-mini trades if we get some setups here. All right. Depends on if we break down, though. Like, we'll see if we get some good shorts. Oh, yeah, there's always going to be a red day. And some days, the more you push, the worse it gets. And so, like, again, a lot of traders use some variation of the martingale. And it doesn't end up working because, like, they just keep push. And some days, the more you push, the worse it's going to get. And so if you take that strategy where you can never stop pushing buttons, then you shouldn't be trading, you know. And again, I'm not claiming to be like some super great like person in terms of risk management, but I think it's important to focus on learning how to use risk management. The way I do it is I try to build up a cushion on my good days. Like if we hadn't built up that cushion, we'd be down $300-400 right now. And so, you know, that's what we kind of focus on, learning how to build those cushions and then swing into those cushions with less risk. Hey, what's up, Lurk? So earnings are already out, Ty. So earnings are already out, which is kind of crazy. I still don't understand why AMC chose to go about their earnings the way they did. So like they were scheduled to release their earnings this morning or this afternoon. They surprise released them this morning for whatever reason, which is again kind of strange. All right, so we just made a little bit. We're actually green on the day now. We made a little bit on the regular E-mini, but it's very slight. We are up $40 today, which is great. We stopped trading the NASDAQ because we kept getting stopped out in the NASDAQ, and the E-mini looks a little bit better. And again, today we're going to keep it short and sweet, guys. Let me we're going to be debuting an inflation related video, CPI report related video at 9:45 as a premiere. Let's go. Dramatic. All right, so the E-mini's breaking down. The NASDAQ's breaking down as well, and Tesla was flat originally. It's starting to break down too. Let me make sure this is working on the channel as well. Luckily, it's not just me that's slow. I think the whole market's a little bit boring right now. Y'all do me a favor, hit that subscribe button as well. Thank you guys so much for helping me break 112,000 subs. We did break that last week. I'm pretty pumped about that. And let me go ahead. I'm going to put in sub only mode. So if you haven't already, hit that sub button, guys. We appreciate it. All right, we make it a little bit more on the E-mini here. We just cut a little bit more. So yeah, we are now up on the day about 80 bucks. Could be worse. Look at that bounce on the NASDAQ here. So I don't know what's bouncing up, but something's bouncing up on the NASDAQ. Again, we are going to throw it in sub-only mode. So there you go. We are in sub-only mode. Everybody announce yourself. Show me that you're subbed. We appreciate it. We're watching everything bounce back or try to bounce back here. But again, I think the whole market's scared of this inflation report. Market looks like it wants to bounce back here. I see Apple trying to bounce back too. Tyson Foods is actually nicely green on the day as well. Let me lock that in profit some more. Cool. Lock that in. And again, hey, thank you, Justin, Paul, Chris, YG. Yeah, this is Quant Tower right now. Yeah, the market looks like it's trying to rebound, though. NASDAQ starting to turn. I appreciate all the subs. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so inflation data drops on Thursday. Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time is when it drops. All right, watching Tesla flush down. Again, market looks like it wants to turn, but we're sitting tight, waiting. All right, we're scalping a trade of the E-mini. We got one contract left, but we already took profit a couple times here on the regular E-mini. And so we're back up about 190 or so on the day, plus whatever this is. So we're back up over 200 on the day. But we've got a nice little entry under, looking for a continuation in trend. I'll go ahead and take that off. All right, so there we go. We are up a cool two. I don't know what we're up on the day. We are up 242.50 with almost 3-to-1 win-loss ratio. I might short back into this, though, because I think this bounce looks weak. Two contracts. I might have to cut it if it pushes up too much. There we go. Big retracement back down. Tesla's bouncing, though, which is a large cap stock. It's something we should pay attention to. And again, if you haven't already, check out Topstep. Topstep funded account program for futures. Great way to learn how to trade. Just taking these challenges builds your skill. And Topstep is the most legit one in the world. There we go. Starting to break down. We're going to take half of that off there. Go ahead and take the rest of that off as well. And so now we are up about 300 on the day. Here's our profit graph on the day. Again, we attacked this downward trend. There's the E-mini breaking down. But again, if you haven't already, check out Topstep funded program for futures. Again, I think they're pausing signups for now, but they should resume in the next few days. If you want to check out more, there's a link. Oh, crap. Oops. I don't want 9:45. I want 8:45. My time. There we go. All right, market's still flushing back down some, so everything turning here. Tyson actually rip it up nicely, though, to be honest. So Tyson, getting all the way back to $55 a share. Yeah, there's the market starting to flush. Apple's starting to go red on the day, but it's been a pretty green day overall. There's the NASDAQ starting to break. Again, guys, in a couple minutes, we are going to go to our video that we're coming out today, again, about inflation data. So if you want to know what's going on with inflation data today, guys, again, watch this video. We got debuting in about 30 seconds. And y'all have a safe day. I'll see you guys later. Y'all be good in the market, guys. We're green. We'll probably ride out the rest of the day. I don't know if we're going to trade anymore, but I'll let you guys know later. Y'all be safe. Y'all be good. And I'll see you guys later. Again, as soon as we close this stream, it should bring you to our new video, guys. So if it doesn't bring you there for whatever reason, here's the link. Check it out. If for whatever reason it doesn't bring you to this video, again, here's the link. You can check it out. But the video is starting now, and I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys over that video. Tesla's trying to bounce. All right. Again, I'm going to see you guys over that video. I'll see you guys later.